you necessarily need to connect with one of your colleagues, and that particular colleague could be from any department, any location across the world. And this is a multinational company spread across the world. And there is a software which actually enables this. And we found it very interesting because, every 2 hours, you're actually getting in touch with a colleague who you may not have ever interacted with earlier, just to find out how the person is doing and get to know that individual a little better in your 5 or 10 minute conversation and discussion with him. And possibly you'll find some synergies. You might get a tip or two also as to how to deal with your work and your everyday life as well. So this is an organization of, I believe, around 70,000 people, like I said, spread across the world. But I think this is a very interesting thing to do, because not only do you need to get to know people from different departments, different geographies, but it also keeps you interested, going, alert, and mix and curious at the same time. So you're there, you're engaged. So we thought we should share this example with you. And of course, it is, it's an IT enabled company which has a strong IT background. So like Sanjay was saying, there are some, one shoe will not fit all, as they say, for sure. But some examples which we thought you could do it in your own way, given the infrastructure, given the facilities that you have. And to share another example, regarding the same thing, when you're communicating with your employees, what the thought that we did want to leave behind with you was the fact that we all know that rumors, travel faster than light. So I think we have to be very careful about what it is that we are communicating with our employees.
Anjali, I'll have to request you to please be louder. I think there is a little voice disturbance. Just a little bit louder. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope this is better. So what we wanted to leave also with you was that being as authentic as possible in your communication, again, is absolutely the need of the hour. Tell your employees exactly what is happening. If it is to do with COVID-19, it has to be from authentic sources only. It has to be published data, and possibly one such emailer going through to all your employees in the morning by a leader is what we would recommend, rather than everybody talking about the very same subject every now and then. So remind people all the time of what is important, and also the common goals and the priorities, because communicating and over communicating is something that we would recommend all the time. So Sanjay, if you would like to add on to that.
What also happens is, thanks Anjali, what also happens is, like I mentioned earlier, there are individuals who are working like this from home for the first time. And when they are physically not present at the workplace, there is a human tendency to feel left out. And it may be not everyone. There are people who feel left out, that पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है ऑफिस में, सब कुछ चल रहा है, मुझे कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा. Therefore, it becomes important that a regular periodic communication goes out, either from the communications team or from the HR team or from business leaders, or in larger organizations from every manager to their respective teams. It could be a simple WhatsApp message, it could be a group call, it could be a video call, anything. But a periodic, regular communication, just checking in to say, everything okay? Do you need any help? How are you doing? Nothing much happening right now, so let's regroup in the evening or something like that. So there's another organization which is doing a very interesting thing. Even when people are working from home, what they've done is they've set a time. They set from between 10 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening or 5 in the evening. Everybody needs to be available for any calls or meetings, so that it's like an office schedule, number one. Two, what they're also is every 2 hours, they have set a time frame. Every 2 hours, there is a call which happens with every manager with his or her team. And that call may be for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, whatever it may be. But they just communicate, just everybody comes on the call and says, okay, all okay, things happening, any doubts, any questions, any concerns, is everybody doing fine? And then you cut off the call. So it's not about always giving a long-winded message or talking, for a long time. It's just to keep everybody included in the communication. That's the whole purpose. Another interesting they have done is across wherever they have offices, at Indian time, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. is a common lunch time for everyone. So no calls, no messages, no nothing during 1 to 2. It could be lunch in India, it could be breakfast in Europe, it could be dinner possibly in Australia and US. So whatever time it may be, whatever time of the day it may be there, but from an Indian perspective, it's 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. That's lunchtime. So like this, they've created a communication schedule and circulated to everybody so that mentally everyone is at peace to say, okay, at this time, nothing is happening. So I'm fine. And in case I need to communicate with someone, they're always open to, call somebody or send a message across and so on. So these are some techniques which organizations are using. And there is we keep repeating because a lot of questions that we have got is, but this will not work for me. Yes, we agree. What we are not trying to do is say, this is the only thing you should be doing. We're just giving you tips and ideas on how you can do your own thing for your organization. Yeah. Over to you, Anjali.
Yeah. So I hope we are loud and clear now, and the communication is clear and all of you are comfortable now. So the next aspect that we would like to focus on is wellness. And companies, I think it would be companies are doing this, and I think it would be great if we have companies who are looking after their employees and also accepting the fact that families are going to be around you, and not to penalize them, because there are kids around, there are elders around in some families, and while initially we may find this a little difficult to accept, I think ensuring that we are inclusive as far as this is concerned is a thought that we would certainly like to leave with all of you. Interestingly, in one of the factories that we were checking with, and this is like a hardcore manufacturing area too, the way employees are being looked after by the HR and the leadership team over there is, every employee who feels even a little bit anxious is being asked to come to the wellness area, and his or her temperature is being recorded in a file kept exclusively for that individual. Their blood pressure, their temperature, any other symptoms that they might be feeling uncomfortable with are being recorded. And if the employee wants to come back on an everyday basis, or every 2 or 3 days also, they are being looked after very well, very empathetically. This has made a huge difference to the attendance at that particular facility, number one. Number two, employees have actually come back and told us that, we are assuring our family that we are okay. And interestingly, in a lot of places, whether it is retail or manufacturing and sectors such as this, I think every one of them is now very consciously working with about a 60 to 70% staff only on the ground. This has resulted in two very interesting aspects. One, employees who are coming in on a given day are actually being upskilled and reskilled to handle not just what they were handling earlier, but also learn a new skill and handle that as well. So for example, in the local Ratnadeep itself, there was a lady who was handling the back end of the entire store, and today she's been upskilled to handle even the billing counter. So while this is happening, this particular lady, when I asked her and when I looked at the roster, comes in just 2 days in a week, and then she takes off on the remaining days of the week and then comes back for 2 days. So not only are they working getting upskilled, and obviously hence their confidence, their the way in which they're looking at the organization and the job is certainly going up. But she also gets an opportunity to go home, take rest, refresh herself, and come back. So we found this very interesting. There's another organization which is doing virtual yoga sessions. So again, at a particular time in a day, it's a blip on their screen and there is a yoga instructor who's there, and most of the employees are logging in and taking that 45 minutes away from work to actually, and they are feeling good and feeling well. So that's another interesting wellness initiative that we came across. Over to you, Sanjay.
Yeah, so once again, so depending on what suits your organization the best is something that we would urge you to consider. There's another interesting idea that a manufacturing organization has come up with. They have set up a team of doctors. They've chosen 3 doctors who are probably on the panel or something. And they've given them special numbers, and those numbers have been circulated to all the employees. At any given point of time, if there is any concern that the employee has about his or her own health or any family members, they can call that number 24/7, and one of those doctors will respond and help them with any solution that they might give. So that's from a wellness perspective because of the stress that some people are going through. And please remember, it is not just about work at this point of time. There is a lot of concern that is there in employees' minds about what the future is going to be once the situation returns to normal. Loss of jobs, loss of pay, deduction of leaves. There are issues. How are they going to manage their families? What about the financial wellness of my family? All those things, those are the emotional challenges also that employees are facing. To be able to address all these kind of things, there are different ideas that organizations are coming up. There is another interesting idea which has worked well. So an organization has started sending out little articles and little videos around what to exercise, how to exercise, and reading something, which is more of positive thinking, about positivity and spreading the message through WhatsApp every day. So these are little things, but they go a long way in helping employees to kind of keep their minds fresh and alert. Yeah. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you. So I've also come across one particular team whose leader, given the times that we are in, COVID-19, and one recommendation from the health professionals is that you must drink warm water. So the simple thing this leader does is ask her team members for the first meeting of the morning at 9 a.m. Everybody to bring along to the meeting a glass of warm water. And when they start, she ensures that all of them, are sipping that warm water while they are a part of that 20-minute early morning, good morning meeting. So I thought that this was not only a way in which, you send the message across that, yes, I'm concerned about your wellness, and possibly engage them also in keep them engaged as well. And that brings us to the next item in the swept away, all of us being swept away and brought into this new paradigm, which is the engagement piece. I think from an employee engagement perspective, we're all concerned about, how do we ensure that our employees are motivated, are comfortable, are engaged, of course, and are happy. So given this again, given this mixture again, in a sense, we'll share some examples with you. So one such very interesting experience that we've had again in the recent past is to do with the onboarding piece of the engagement that one of the organizations did. Now, it was not 1 or 2 employees that this organization had to onboard. It was 70 employees, 70 employees that this organization had to onboard in that given week once the lockdown was set in. So what this organization went about doing was, everything happened online. The assets that were necessary for these employees to start their work were sent to these employees via courier, some of them personally delivered, etc. So they were completely equipped when the day came when they had to onboard the organization. The introductory presentation, the leadership team being present there and talking to these individuals as a group and even as a one-on-one wherever required during the day, making them comfortable with the policies and processes of the organization, actually hand-holding them if they had a doubt. The documentation that was necessary to be done was done virtually. They had to scan their documents and send it. There was just one file which they had to fill up with the basic details, and that went and populated all the other, whether it was related to medical insurance or gratuity or anything. All of those fields got populated. So they made it extremely simple and very thorough. And all of this was done remotely. There was another manufacturing company in the same context that ensured that the new employees were told that please come to the office for just and exactly 2 hours. Your cost to come to the office, the passes required, etc., will all be organized and taken care of by the organization. Everything that they needed from an onboarding perspective was kept ready at the office. The employees, the new joinees came in, they were given all the assets required, and whether, depending on whether they had to go to the factory or go to, report and be a part of the corporate team which was working virtually, all of those instructions were given, and it was exactly for 2 hours that they turned up on their day of induction and went back. So, Sanjay, would you like to add on some more examples here, please?
I think those are pretty relevant ones. See, the whole idea of engagement that especially HR professionals need to think about goes beyond just fun. And at a time like this, along with fun, it is also important to use that time effectively to keep people engaged. So another interesting way in which some organizations are working is they have signed up all their employees who are working from home to either 1 or 2 little learning programs, online learning programs, which may be related to an upskill. So the companies, see, generally the tendency of employees is to say, am I supposed to pay for this? What happens? I don't want to do anything which is going to cost me. So the idea for organizations is to invest in that kind of time and effort and money. And they have set up online learning programs, 1 or 2 short programs for each employee. And once they complete it, then there is a little quiz, and just to make sure that they are alert and they have taken that course and completed it and so on. So that is another way of engaging. And earlier, under the communication bucket, Anjali mentioned about an organization which is using an automated tool to connect random employees to talk to each other. That's a great way of engaging once again. The simple reason that if there is an organization which has, across the globe, they have 50, 60 countries where they're operating in, it's not possible for everyone to know everybody across the globe. But this is a time when people have the technology and have the time to be able to do that. So the software randomly connects 2 employees. One could be sitting somewhere down in, let's say, Kerala, and the other one is sitting on the other side of the world, somewhere in New Zealand. But both of them get connected randomly. They don't have a choice as to whom they like to speak with. So 2 new people have got to know each other. And imagine that happening every 4 hours or every 6 hours across the globe, of different people from different parts of the world talking to each other. So you have a much more collaborative organization, much more connected organization, because tomorrow when you have some, or when you have a problem, or when you're trying to deal with a project, you know whom to reach out to in the other part of the world. So that's an opportunity that is there for everyone to get to know each other. So this was amazing. I mean, I just was wondering, in a day, if I speak to 5 people, I have known 5 new people, and 5 new people have known who I am. So it's a very interesting way of doing that. Yeah. Back to you, Anjali.
Sure. Thank you. And so the next part of the sweeping that's happening is productivity. And in this, there were some again very interesting experiences that we've had. So, we're talking about business continuity in these times, in this time of crisis, and it can happen that a lot of us will be so concerned about it that we had a question in one of the other sessions where we were told that maybe people will just take advantage of a situation such as this and possibly work in a slightly relaxed manner, and goals may not be met. Well, research has proven, and I quote this, that research has proven when McKinsey did a survey of about 20,000 organizations across the world that had adopted virtual working in some manner or the other, that productivity actually went up by 43% over a period of 3 years. So this is proven. So, yes, it's a fact that till the time you settle down, I believe, there may be some blips in the productivity. However, I think given what has already been studied and researched, and given the commitment that people now, and we're seeing this across, are showing the commitment that they're showing to the organization, etc., I believe productivity is bound to go up. Some of the tips and tricks that we've seen work over here is, while you're focusing on your critical goals, while you're prioritizing what you need to do in terms of your work, it has been found to be useful if you're actually possibly breaking those goals up and looking at it maybe 2 days at a time or 3 days at a time, and then ensuring that you follow up and see every now and then whether those short-term goals are being met or not. We've seen that work beautifully in a lot of companies. So, you're not really looking at, all right, so what's going to happen after the lockdown, which is still 10 days away, but you're looking at, all right, in the next 2 days, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can achieve? And if leaders are breaking down these goals such as this, we've seen fantastic productivity improvements, number one. Number two, even when goals are being broken down such as this, it is, there is a small group which is formed within the team, which is then made responsible for meeting this goal. So there are these volunteers, there are these leaders that are coming up, even within your teams, maybe maybe just 2 people working together on that short-term goal, maybe 3 or more working together on that short-term goal. So there is, again, engagement, there is communication amongst a small group, and there is that focus on the short-term goal which has been set. We've also seen a buddy system work very well. So if there is a goal that we are chasing, and if there is an SME possibly available out there, buddying up that a slightly senior person or somebody who's a little well versed with this team of 2 or 3 has also helped a lot of teams achieve their goals actually before time, rather than waiting for that entire cycle to go through. So we've come across some examples such as this, which we thought would be important to share with you. Sanjay, over to you.
So one other instance that comes to mind. See, this at the beginning of the year, or probably sometime in January, February, generally organizations start setting their goals for the next year, business goals for the next year. And when they do that, and suddenly something like this happens, then those goals have gone for a toss. Like all of you, I'm sure, are reading, like us, every day. You're also reading the news that all the businesses, whether it is hospitality, retail, travel, manufacturing, IT, everything has taken a hit. Whatever goals they may have set for themselves are no more relevant. And therefore, it's important to remember that while those goals may be important in the long term, what is it that is important right now? So as managers and as HR professionals, it is important for us to remember what is priority right now. And here is an example. So there is this automotive company which had set a goal for itself to say in the next year, we want to sell, let's say 20,000 vehicles. Okay. That was the goal they set for themselves in January of this year. So from April of 2020 to March of 2021, we want to sell 20,000 vehicles. What happened in February? And then what happened in March? Everything went for a toss. So they started manufacturing vehicles in January and February with that idea. We will need so many vehicles, X number of vehicles in April, X in May, Y in June, and so on and so forth. But they've not been able to sell anything that they already had on hand. So how did the priority change? The priority now has become, forget manufacturing, let us look at how can we sell whatever we already had in stock. So you see the goal has changed entirely, which means every team, every employee that was working on in a certain manner towards a certain goal has to be reviewed, and their goals have changed. And so therefore, identifying those short-term goals which are of priority right now and not something which will happen 12 months from now, because we don't even know what's going to happen 3 months from today. That is very important. And once that is done, how do you go about executing them? Like Anjali explained, is what is something that needs to be kept in mind very critically. So like I said, so that example was relevant, I thought, to share, because selling 20,000 vehicles is no more the priority. Selling whatever was already there in stock is now become the priority. So the goal has entirely changed. I think that would make sense if you agree with me. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you. And so the last point that we wanted to discuss with you was around the technology and tools. So very interestingly, I think just before we even got onto this call, between Sanjay and me, I am possibly the dinosaur as far as using technology and tools is concerned. And given that when we ourselves are trying out various new platforms, various new tools and technology, we realize that we have to, I definitely go through a learning curve. And Sanjay always tells me that, tu ruk, main dekhta hu, and then I'll come back and explain to you. I'm sure a lot of employees a lot of us across are facing challenges like this. So while we have heard of, the Zoom and the WhatsApp chats, the WhatsApp video, the Google chats, etc. There are so many different tools and technology that organizations are using based on what suits them the best. So making colleagues comfortable with this, ensuring that we know as much about it as possible, is something that I think all of us as leaders and HR professionals should be ready to learn and upskill ourselves as well. So one of our very close friends, who's actually the head of HR of a large fintech company, this lady, when I was talking to her a couple of days back, and I said, all right, so how are you coping up? How are your colleagues doing? And because being the head of HR, so she said, not only did I go home after almost 20 hours in the office, and the reason why this happened was because she was actually hand-holding the IT head to procure all the IT equipment that was needed and to ensure that employees who've now been asked to go home and work from home are, then equipped with all these tools and technology. So besides being on top of what those technologies and tools are, what can we do to ensure employees have what it is that is needed, and are comfortable using those? I think these are things that we can certainly look into, and we should. Sanjay, anything that you would like to
No, I think you covered it very well, Anjali. What the additional point that I would like to make is, I think there is almost no one that is not using a smartphone these days, and most software or most of the apps and most of the news channels, most of learning, everything has been enabled in a manner which can be used on smartphone. In fact, we do meetings on phones, and that is something which is very common these days. Just yesterday, I was on a Zoom call as well, doing another session like this. I was on my phone. So the ability to make optimal use of technology, the ability to think through what are all the different applications available, and not necessarily the common refrain, I'll tell you, these organizations may not have invested in technology till now. Think जब जरूरत है तब देखी जाएगी, अभी कोई जरूरत नहीं है. But this one situation, this one unique situation that has come up globally is forcing organizations to rethink. I'll give you another example. There is an IT company which they had not issued laptops to all their employees because they felt zarurat nahi hai, but let us see if required. And suddenly we have ended up with a situation where everybody was forced to work from home, but at the same time they had no choice but to ensure that the customers' work gets done. So they went and bought 70 laptops in one shot. Now, when we had suggested to them quite a while ago to say, I think it is a good idea if everybody's issued laptops so that they can be more flexible with their work schedules, that was something they said may not be required, not necessary. And today, when they've gone and bought all those laptops and we asked them, so how are you feeling about, having to purchase all these laptops? How come the sudden decision change? They say, well, the world has changed. Right? The world has changed is what the answer was. It sounded very simple, but thinking ahead and investing in technology and utilizing whatever technology is available today to make sure that the organization does not suffer on the work front is something extremely critical. I think we've received a few questions, Anjali. Do you want to start taking that? So one question is from Abhay Kulkarni. He says, with BS6 implementation, most of the dealers of automotive companies are being told that they can sell 10% of their stock of 4 and balance they cannot. Under such situation, how can one counsel those dealers about their challenges? That's a very, very specific automotive question. And that's an answer which is very difficult for us to give, because each organization has has a strategy of how they want to get rid of their stocks. And BS4 to BS6 is going to be a huge change. And at least as far as I know, the availability of the right kind of fuel for BS6 technology, I haven't seen a date till now. Though the government has set a deadline, there has been a constant dialogue between the fuel companies and the government on extending that deadline. I really don't know where they stand as on date. So everything depends around that, and what stocks each company has, what is the value of those stocks, how much they want to get rid of, how much can they convert into BS6, etc. is something. I'm not a technical guy, so I may not be able to answer that question specifically, but each will have to go on their own way. I think another question to you, Anjali, is any specific examples of how to look after emotional well-being of employees? This has come from some of the participants. So if you could just answer that.
Sure.
And
so
there is a similar question from Girija Gole, and she asks, please suggest more examples and ideas for motivating remote employees. So somewhat related question which you can take.
Yeah. So I think, Girija's question is something I'm able to see. I'm not able to see the other one, but so we've spoken to a lot of people that are who are managing remote employees, and one thing that we always insist is to check about, and genuinely again check about the well-being first the health, the well-being of not just the employee but of their families also. That makes a huge difference. So the first thing that I think anybody should do, and I just saw a forward as well today in WhatsApp, it said that possibly, you know, we had forgotten this very simple thing of saying, so good afternoon, and I hope you're doing well today. I think just that very genuinely makes a difference. So from both an emotional well-being point of view, as well as from, you know, that connect and engagement point of view, first checking as to how, and spending a couple of minutes as to how people are doing and how their families are doing is extremely critical in times such as this. I have also come across cases where, like we say, engagement and fun Fridays. So I have a friend of mine who's managing a team that is across geographies, and every Friday in the last 2-3 weeks that they have been working from home, she has got the entire team together on virtual conference, and she ensures that they bring, you know, whatever they wish to. So she was telling me that they used to have the Fun Friday starting at 4 p.m. She herself is based out of Delhi, and it would be either a chat party or somebody bringing just some cold drinks or something. So now they do that virtually, and her team actually looks forward to the Fun Fridays even in a situation such as this. So that keeps them going, and they're all looking forward to spending that 1 hour, you know, just chilling out with each other on their phones, on their laptops, and connecting. So these are two things that I can think of immediately. Sanjay, would you want to add on with anything?
I think I'm also not able to think of anything immediately, but those were examples that were relevant that you shared. And the idea, like I keep repeating quite often, is that every environment is different. And so we need to be able to think through that. But there are different ways of doing it. So there's another interesting question. How do you differentiate challenges of IT and non-IT sector? And can you share the name of the automated tool which you had mentioned? So to answer the second question first, if I am not mistaken, that name of the tool is Tech Connect, TECH CONNECT, but I'm not too sure. So you can look it up on the web. I think you may be able to get the answer. Tech Connect is what it was called. To answer the first part of your question of how do you differentiate challenges of IT and non-IT sector? Interesting question. I think the challenges of the IT sector from a work from home or remote working perspective is lesser, for the simple reason that they are anyway working on technology. So it's easier to monitor and do work. But the challenge there is the work that they do is not tangible. So there could always be some bugs. So you need to keep testing the software that you're producing, or if you're servicing customers with their product which you have supplied to them, you need to keep monitoring complaint tickets that have been raised, and ensuring those are resolved within a certain time frame. And if you are sitting in India, for example, as somebody who's servicing customers, let's say in Australia, which means you have to be up and running at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning because it is already afternoon in Australia. So, and you have a certain time frame within which you have promised to resolve customer issues. Those are the kind of time and geography challenges that are some of the things. And if technology is not strong, if your IT connectivity is not strong, then you have a challenge. In the non-IT sector, the challenge is, let's take the example of retail. Reliance Retail, you know, it's a pan-India organization, right? And as per the rules set for the lockdown, retail sector was exempt. So basically they can keep their shops open for essential groceries. But how do you staff it? You know, you can't have, when you have a restriction on the number of people that can be together, not more than 3 people can be together in a group, then how do you manage so many hundreds of people coming in to buy essentials on a daily basis? So what organizations have done, what Reliance Retail has done basically is they have split their staffing of their employees in shop to the minimal required, So if they normally had 20 people working, they've cut it to 10 so that they reduce the number of people that are present in one place. They have also cross-trained those 10 employees to be able to do different jobs. So if somebody was responsible only to ensure that there was stock on the shelf and somebody else was only a cashier, both of them have been trained to do other jobs as well. So like that, with minimal staff, they are able to manage. And once they do 2 days of work, they go home and a new set of 10 employees come into work. And, they take on the activities which the other two were doing earlier. So it's in a manufacturing industry that what similar thing that they're doing. They're optimal staffing. They're rostering the staff to be on a rotational basis. And in case somebody falls ill, there is someone else who's already trained to handle that. These are all new things which have come up in the last 1 month. It only speaks of the ability of the human mind to come up with solutions, which we have not done so far. Because everything was good, we have not gone beyond our comfort levels. But this is a situation which has forced us to differently to come up with solutions. But I'm sure, God forbid, in case we face any difficult situation going forward in future, we'll be more than ready for now. I hope that kind of answers your question. Anjali, there is a question from Priya Marathe, and she asks, if a person just finished one assignment and before the new assignments get started, because of a lockdown, the person goes on bench. What can we suggest him to do as he feels fear of a job loss? Very interesting question. Thanks for asking, Priya. Anjali.
Yeah, so very interesting and very relevant. And one of our clients actually has very interestingly facing a similar situation. So what they have done is they have identified about 2 or 3 of such employees. And yes, that fear of losing a job was very, very high with in these employees. So they have given them opportunities to reskill and upskill themselves. And they have also set a deadline around this, saying that, all right, so in the next 2 weeks, this is what we want you to learn and come back with. And of course, we have been possibly overemphasizing, ensuring that even if these employees are on bench, you are in touch with them on a regular basis and on an everyday regular basis. So the motivation for employees such as this is because they have the time and they have the facilities as well. How do you upskill and reskill yourself? And wherever there is any administrative kind of work that possibly the individual can contribute to, they're being asked to do that as well. So one of the employees in this organization has been asked to just touch base with, 5 supervisors, 5 project team leaders in this case, to ensure that they are doing well, because this person is somebody who shows a lot of empathy. So this individual has been asked to just connect with these 5 project team leads every day and report back to the leader and say that, yeah, I've talked to them, they seem to be doing well, the team seems to be doing well. So this is an additional job which is given. So there are various ways and means in which you can keep employees engaged. I hope, Priya, that answers your question to some extent. Sanjay, would you want to add something, or do we move to the next?
No, I think that is fine. I think we have a few more questions, so let's try and answer them so that everybody gets an opportunity to be engaged, because we're talking of engagement and productivity. So there's another interesting question from Pandurang More, and he asks, what is the process of virtual employee engagement or engagement using technology and building relations with the branches, especially when your presence is in more than 50 locations across India?
Can I take that? Because I want to give the example of the recent...
Yeah, I left it to you. I saw the question and immediately left it to you.
So recently, this particular organization has about 120 branches pan-India, and some of them are staffed with just, 1 person or even 2 people. So they came back to us with this almost a similar question. And again, we talked about, because, employee engagement in today's day and time, while it should encompass your Fun Fridays and possibly the what do you do on Monday to ensure all your employees are energized and engaged? It is a lot to do with what am I learning new? What is in it for me? So given that, we came up with very short modules, and the first module that we took up for this company was on prevention of sexual harassment. The question that the leader of this organization had for us was, how will you reach somebody who's, say, in the northeast part of the country and very remote? So we actually did it in such a way that there were people who had access to a tool such as Zoom. There were, most of us, like Sanjay was mentioning some time back, do have access to smartphones, at least these days. So we said, we will now club the employees in such a way that there will be a section of the employees who will use a tool such as Zoom, and we will take them through the session. There will be some other employees to whom we will do a WhatsApp call, WhatsApp video call, and take them through sessions such as that. So you just need to think a little, I guess, out of the box and not go with what everybody seems to be doing and using, because everybody seems to be on Zoom, on YouTube, or stuff like that these days. And we found very innovative platforms, very, very user-friendly platforms on which we can reach out to employees. So that's helped us in the last few weeks for sure. And of course, it has helped because employees who are especially remote felt that, yes, the organization is looking after me, is catering to my needs. I just gave you the example of the POSH session, but we've come up with several sessions such as this through which we are keeping in touch with the employees. Pandurang, I hope that's helpful to you. Rajendra, right, is the next one.
There is a question from Preetham before that, which I would like to answer.
Sure.
Preetham from KSH Logistics. Preetham, I'm presuming the question basically is, in logistics industries, most of employees are working in the ground level or floor activities. What type of activities we can do to basically engage them? My assumption is, Preetham, that you're asking that while they're working, how can we keep them engaged? So there are different things you can do. I mean, so some thoughts which immediately come to mind and may not necessarily be the best of ideas, but some things which come to mind is, what is it that you want to do with them? Keep them engaged as in not to get worried about the situation, not to get worried about their jobs, or it could be for any reason. So here are some tips. Every 1 hour, whoever is working, get them all together and, do a quick 10-minute Antakshari. It is going to keep them engaged for the next 2 hours. Koi to gana gaate rahega. That is one kind of fun activity. Second activity is choose 2 or 3 people from the entire group and ask them to go around just to make sure that everybody is wearing a mask, or if people are touching packages, and since you mentioned logistics, I'm expecting that there'll be packages and cartons and whatever that they are transporting. Once they move that, every 15 minutes that they're washing their hands, that they have their mask on, they're keeping themselves, well hydrated, they're drinking water. And if somebody is looking tired, are they walking out into the sun just for some fresh air, etc., etc. So these kind of small activities which won't take more than 5-10 minutes is something that you can think of. And it could be absolutely just silly, fun activities, but it will keep them alert, it will keep them fresh, and they will not keep worrying about what's going to happen in future. So that's just 1 or 2 small ideas which you can probably implement. Anjali, moving on to Rajendra's question, how to engage employees of retail showrooms. Since it's a retail outlet, there is no business, all employees are at home, no contribution. At the same time, they are entitled for all benefits. Very tough question to answer, but yeah, you want to take that?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, So no businesses, there are some cases where, some of the retail stores are completely shut down and there is no business. But the previous example that we gave was also of a company which is actually shut down. It is into the, the wellness chain. So they have wellness centers, they have beauty parlors, they have gyms, etc. And these employees belong to an organization such as that. And those are the measures that that organization is taking. So all what we need to do is think of different ways. Like Sanjay also gave a few examples of reaching out to them at least or definitely on a daily basis, assuring them that they are not going to lose their jobs and keeping them engaged and upskilling them. Because I don't mind repeating this, but I think today's generation of employees is certainly looking for what's in it for me and how can I do better in my life. So upskilling them would only benefit the organization once the employees come back to their jobs. So do think on those lines would be my suggestion.
So there's another question which is interesting. Considering reliability of social media for communication, can it be advisable? So this is a interesting question once again. I'm so happy we're getting a lot of these interesting questions, and we are also learning as you ask us these questions. You need to be cautious of what you are sharing on. Social media is not bad. It is the way in which it is used is the question. So if you want to be sharing sensitive information or information which is inappropriate for an audience, that is not what it is meant for. But what we are advocating, what we are suggesting to use social media for is to be able to post relevant information. So if you are sending a link for somebody to read some interesting article, that's not a problem. It should be fine. If you're going to be sharing information about some interesting event which is likely to happen. So for example, this information about the webinar, we sent it out on WhatsApp to a lot of people. We put it on LinkedIn. We put it on Facebook. It was there. And MCCIA was, putting it out on their own networks. These kind of things are absolutely fine. The problem in social media for all the wrong things. When you have, I'm sure all of you have experienced this in the last 1 month, we have been receiving stupid messages. Sorry for my language, but stupid messages around the corona problem. And everybody has suddenly become a doctor in advising on how to handle corona. That is not what it is meant for. When you don't know whether that information is true or not, when you don't know that information is authentic and shared by a relevant source, those are not the kind of things. And there have been messages around, targeted at specific communities and specific sets of people, that they are the ones who are causing problem. That is not what it is to be used for. So it all depends on how you are using that. So I hope that helps answering the question. Another question is, as my industry in poultry feed additives and hampered badly within this period, any specific session you will be having for sales team inspiration and motivation in coming time? More than happy to do that. This is just the beginning, and I'm sure the MCCIA team is taking note of your question, and we'll be more than happy to do. We can do any kind of session. So just to give you a flavor of, as you are seeing probably on the screen, of who we are, we do all kinds of HR consulting, advisory, learning and development sessions, leadership development, and any kinds of HR projects that we take up. And we also have a presence in Pune, and our colleague's name and number is mentioned there. So in case you have any requirement, you can always reach out to her. But if you have a specific request, please do reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to, take that up. And there's a question from Rameshwar Vibhute. Thanks a lot for arranging session. Would like to attend again on how to recover lockdown time. That's an interesting question, Rameshwar. Unfortunately, we wish we had the answer right now, because first of all, we want to know as well, like you, we also want to know, when will this lockdown end? Is it really going to be April 14th, or is it going to get extended? Is it going to, shorten? We don't know. So it's going to be, we definitely need to be ready for some tough times ahead. There is no doubt about that. And like everybody is facing the same problem, whether it is business, whether it is an employee, whether it is a casual labor, anybody for that matter. And in fact, I saw one question on how do you handle casual labor? I think they are the most important category of people that need to be handled with a lot of compassion and empathy. So to
Yes.
answer your question of, I don't remember who had asked that, of how do you handle casual labor? Please understand that 90% or your whatever a roof under to stay safely. If you have a family to take care and you're able to get food daily, we are among the luckiest in the world today. And if you have been noticing the story of all these migrant labor and casual laborers that are struggling on the roads, and some governments have abandoned them, some governments are taking care of them. I know it's a sensitive topic, but if you are able to help your casual labor in any way, by providing them with some financial assistance, or even by providing them with regular ration to take care of their daily food needs, or any help from a medical perspective in case they have any health issues, just so that they don't get even more ill. Those are small things which will make them very happy. There is no, they don't ask for the world, but I think it's very, very important that we take care of that that section of our population, right? So there is a request from also that there will be a photo session of the participants. So all those participants can now please switch on the videos and smile. Very important. So, because we are coming to the end of the session, we are almost out of time. So let's do that. And we thank you so much, MCCIA, for organizing this absolutely engaging session, and to all the participants for actively and interactively engaging with us, and for asking all the beautiful relevant questions. We are taking away so much of learning from this. So it's an opportunity for us also to now see all your faces, so as many as we can on the screen. So kindly switch on your cameras. So as while we are waiting for the cameras to switch on,
Yes,
I'm
Sanjay.
seeing some interesting messages here. Pandurang
Hi, everyone.
More says he is helping needy people in Pimpri Chinchwad area. If anybody wants to join, you can call him. He has given his number. Pandurang, fabulous, fantastic that you are doing that. Please continue the good work. God bless you. And there's another question which was asked, which organization it was who onboarded 70 people. Unfortunately, because of confidentiality reasons, we're not in a position to share the name. You will understand. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. Anjali, it was a pleasure to host you. I'm sure all the participants have enjoyed and are able to have a fruitful Saturday. Usually, we have never seen this kind of a turnout for physical meetings also when we have informed people. So at such short notice, this is really remarkable. Thank you so much, everybody. The
Thank
team
you.
here from MCCIA is here. You will see names of my team here: Shaunak, Madhura, Disha. There is Amol Joshi, and a couple of us who are trying to get this together for the last couple of days, though all of us are on remote areas, remote locations, trying to do this. So Sanjay and Anjali have been real sweethearts to help us. The moment I approached them, they were all game for this. And as you had requested, all of your questions are with us. We are saving the chat. Earnest request to please put the feedback. This will help us perform better. We are here to be together with you. Whatever is happening is beyond control. We understand that. But our role is to just be the best in whatever we are doing at this moment. So, earnest request to please share your feedback and also advise or suggest what topics would be of your interest. So, and if we are making mistakes in this first meeting today, please forgive us for whatever mistakes we have made. So, because this is the first time. Yeah. So, Anjali, thank you so much. Thank you is a very small word, but it has always been that you all are our support. So, the team MCCIA, great work. And all participants, please keep give us 2 minutes with your feedback. I'm hopeful that we are on time with this. There was a short glitch on my side from the network because invariably the network went off and I couldn't join at the start. But the team here was really, really proactive and they brought it up on time. So I'm happy
Awesome
that
work to the entire team. Thank you so much,
Yes,
guys.
very good.
and all
Very well managed.
participants,
Thank
you all
you.
have been really, really good audience. And we will look at, we would like to see you again and again whenever we plan something like this. Please write to us. Please free to write to us in case we are able to, bring on something better eventually in the weeks to come. Yeah.
And just one last statement from me, if that's okay, Satwisha, is there could have been some questions which we may have missed, and that was not intentional. It was in the interest of time and answering all those questions. So I'm sure those participants do understand. But if there are questions which they specifically need answers for, our mail IDs are there and they can reach out to us. So just wanted to share that, point as well.
So please do write to us. Anjali and Sanjay have shared their coordinates. So hopefully we are on time with this session and you have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay connected. Looking forward to see you all again virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you.
Thank you, Satwisha.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, MCCI team.